Hello guys, it is me again, it's HorrorFan34, and welcome back to another video. I know it's been a couple weeks since I did a video, just been extremely busy and just haven't had time to make any videos lately, just been busy. And, but I figured I'd come at you today with another review, with kind of a different review, not really of a movie, but of a documentary, and you can tell by the title already, so then you already know what it's going to be a review on. But, I'm really busy right now working on my top 100 favorite movies for my 100 subscriber special because I'm now past 100 subscribers. So I've been busy trying to get that list ready, but it's been really tough. So it's a really tough list to make if you really think about it. But wanted to get on here today to talk about a documentary that I've been meaning to talk about for a while. This was a really, really nice gift from my good buddy who sent me this a while back, who gave this to me a while back. And I remember seeing this when it was first new. I didn't own a copy of it back then. I didn't get a copy until now, because thanks to my friend, he gave this to me. I don't know if he gave this to me for my birthday, or it was something like that. I honestly cannot remember. I'm pretty bad memory. But if you go back to one of my older videos, you'll see this in an update. But this documentary is fantastic. And of course you can tell by the title, it's going to be on Crystal Lake Memories. Crystal Lake Memories, the complete history of Friday the 13th. The 2-disc collector's edition. Now, see how it says the complete history of Friday the 13th? This thing is about 400 minutes. That's a lot of material. It deserves to be called the complete history of Friday the 13th. Because this thing is jam-packed to the brim with a lot of stuff about the Jason films. And if you're a big Friday the 13th fan, I don't know what you're waiting for. This is definitely worth picking up. If you're a big fan of the films, in a way, you can kind of say this is kind of like a special edition to basically the whole franchise. You know, because granted, you know, some of the other movies, you know, like Part 8, Part 7, and Part 6, Part 1, they all had the deluxe edition DVDs. But in a way, it's kind of like a big, gigantic special edition of the entire franchise. Because basically in this 400-minute documentary, which is spread out into 2 discs, because it is a 2-disc, they basically cover from the original film all the way until the remake in 2009. And the one thing I thought was really cool about this documentary, and I haven't listened to the commentary yet on here that's on here, it's one of the bonus features, but the cool thing about this documentary is they got a lot of people, and I mean a ton of people for this. You wouldn't believe how many people that they got for this to sit down and be interviewed for. And of course, you know, it's narrated by Corey Feldman, who I thought did a great job at the narration. He's also interviewed, talking about how, you know, if he was in another Jason film, he brought up like the Goonies and things like that. But getting on to like who they got interviewed, I mean, just on the back here, this is now now you got to remember, this is covering everything from the original film to the 2009 remake. So they interview people, right? They have Sean S. Cunningham, Corey Feldman, of course, Robert Englund when they were talking about Freddy vs. Jason, Robbie Morgan, Adrienne King, Alice from the first film, Alice Cooper, Wes Craven's interviewed, Ari Lehman, who was in the original Jason, in the original Friday the 13th, he was the little boy that came out of the water and grabbed Adrienne King as she wakes up in the hospital. The little boy, that's Ari Lehman. The late great Betsy Palmer, of course, before she passed away. Frank Mancuso Jr., of course, Kane Hodder, Aaron Gray from Part 9, John Fury from Part 2, Paul from Part 2, Amy Steele, of course, from Part 2, Jennifer Cook from Part 6. I thought it was really cool. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff. I mean, and even on Part 7, they interview people like Laura Park Lincoln. They interview Elizabeth Caton, who played Robin, Diana Barrows, who was Maddie. They even interviewed Jennifer Banco, who was the young Tina. in the beginning of the movie. I hate you, Daddy. I wish you were dead. That's the young teen as Jennifer Banco, who would later be in Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 as the little girl. They also, of course, got Kane Hodder in there as well. Part 8, they interviewed people like Jensen Daggett, V.C. Dupree, who was the guy who was boxing Jason. He gets his head knocked off by Jason. He's interviewed. Just a lot of people. Danny Steinman, he's interviewed, who directed Part 5. I can go, and for the remake, they interview Derek Mears, who I actually met. Derek Mears, super nice guy, got him to sign my poster, but super nice guy. He's interviewed. Danielle Panabaker, who is Jenna, she's interviewed. And for Freddy vs. Jason, Monica Keene is interviewed. I believe Ronnie Yu, who directed the film, he's also interviewed. The list just goes on and on and on. And this is what true fans want. This is what the true fans of the Jason. This is what true fans of this series wanted. Because his name was Jason was solid, but I feel like it wasn't too. There could have been more to His Name Was Jason, so that's why they came out with this. 1428 Films came out with this. This is also the same people who released Never Sleep Again, which is another fantastic documentary on the Elm Street franchise, which I like to review at some point as well. But this documentary is just so well done. A lot of really great stories and a lot of really good info. A lot of really great interviews with a lot of people. Surprisingly enough, one of the people who they interviewed that stands out the most in the film is Jennifer Banco, who was the young teen. And it just seems like a real sweet girl, really sweet person. I love her energy too. I love her energy in the interview. It just seems like a really nice person, Jennifer Banco. Elizabeth Caton, who played Robin, she seems really sweet as well. She's pretty funny. When they interviewed her, she was talking about how in the scene where Jason grabs her by the neck and he throws her out the window, they had a body double, and when you look closely at the body double, it's actually a guy. Like the big legs are really muscular, and she's laughing, saying like, people are coming up to me and they're like, your legs are so muscular, and she's laughing. She seems like a real sweet person, just like Jennifer Banco. So I thought that was a funny story. And was another funny one, but kind of messed up at the same time, where when they interviewed Dinah Barrows, who was Maddie in Part 7, little touch-up work my ass, She tells a story about how her ex-boyfriend around that time would rewind her scene and would keep rewinding her death scene and say, "Get her, Jason, get her, Jason." I thought that kind of messed up, but kind of funny at the same time. But yeah, and Tom Savini's interviewed on here as well. Ted White, who was Jason in Part 4, he's interviewed. Of course, Steve Dash, the late great Steve Dash, before he passed away, who was Jason in Part 2. Richard Brooker, who was Jason in Part 3, he's no longer with us anymore either. And on top of that too, granted, they don't get everybody to be interviewed. Like, for example, you don't have Kevin Bacon. You don't have Crispin Glover. You don't have Tony Goldwyn from Part 6. So there's a couple people that they don't get, but you can't have everybody. But for the people they got, looking on the back here, more than 150 cast and crew members spanning all 12 films. And they even touch on the Friday the 13th TV series, which I thought was cool. So I kind of like the fact that they didn't leave that in the dust. They actually brought that up, so I thought that was pretty cool. But there's just a lot of really good info on this. A lot of really great interviews. They get a lot of people. It's a really well done documentary. And I'll tell you what, for 400 minutes, I never got bored with this. I never got bored. I never stopped this. I never got tired of it. I didn't pause it and did something else. I was deeply invested into this documentary. And for Friday the 13th fans, this is worth the pickup. It's a really well done documentary. I don't want to say much more about it, because I'm sure if you're a Jason fan like I am, it's my favorite horror franchise. I say you have to go check out this documentary, even if you, I mean, who hasn't watched this documentary yet? I mean, it's been out since 2013. But if you haven't seen this and you're a big Jason fan, this is a well-worthy documentary. Very well done, very well in depth, a lot of great interviews on here. Just a lot of really good stuff. I don't want to say much more about it I don't want to go into spoiling everything. But that is pretty much it for my review for the Crystal Lake Memories documentary. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you guys next time. You guys take care.